So, yep, I'm in.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Brooke, I can hear you. This is Rick.
Oh,
Hi.
that was, okay.
So what's going on is I went to the agenda that Erica had given us, and I clicked on the link, and when I did, it came up with her ADA committee, but she was actually logged into the Zoom account that had the homelessness, so she had started the meeting on the homelessness, but the link on the agenda was for an ADA committee, so now she's trying to get to a link for the ADA so she could launch this meeting and come in here.
So that is the link that is on the city Facebook, the city website. So that really needs to be updated.
The link that's the agenda that Erica sent us. She used an ADA Zoom link instead of asking for the homelessness task force Zoom link. That's not one that we did. That's from her.
Right. So, and yeah, okay. All right.
And so she's trying to get in right now because when I logged the computer in at public safety, I logged it into the city account and I had it set up to click on homelessness task force. But the homelessness task force meeting has a different link than the link she put in the agenda. So she's trying to sign into one of the other meetings that's set up for the ADA so she can get in here, even though it's homelessness. It's confusing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating because I wonder how many other people followed the link from the agenda or the city website and weren't able to participate.
Well, so the link that you came in on is the link Erica's coming in on, which is the link that's on the website.
Right, but at this point it's quarter after.
Right.
And the meeting was supposed to start at 7. So how many people got frustrated and just gave up? That's my question.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know. Yep.
I gotcha. So I'm right here. I
All right.
understand.
I'm going to sign out, Erica, now that you're in.
Okay. I hear your frustrations and I apologize. Okay.
Yep.
And I understand. I apologize. That's my frustrations and I take full responsibility. And I'm gonna get Stephen on the line. Okay, so, and we don't have, there's Stephen. And we do not have a quorum. There's nothing we can vote on anyway. So I'm gonna call this meeting late. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. And are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No.
No,
No.
no. Hello, Stephen. I'm sorry, I'm a little late. Public comment? Oh, sorry. Approval of last meeting minutes. We had a couple meeting minutes to approve. We had about 3 months worth of meeting minutes. Has everybody read through them? We don't have a quorum though to vote.
Okay.
Do we put them off again? To 4 months of,
The problem is, we have 5 people here out of 7, so we have a quorum.
Samantha's not a voting member. We have 4.
Well, can we make me a voting member since I
No.
would be
Oh,
right? So how do I get on the committee is my question, because I would.
we'll tell you about that later. There's a process. But that's still 4 of us out of 7, so it's still a quorum. But the only minutes I remember are the ones that Philip just sent out. So I will move, we approve those minutes at least.
So we have Philip's minutes, we have Chip's minutes from a month ago.
Let's take them a set at a time. I have moved that we approve the ones that Philip just sent out.
All right, do you want a second for that?
If we're gonna have a motion passed, you need a second.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I'll send them in tomorrow. So do we have public comment?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
would like to officially join the committee.
Okay,
Okay. The city council has to appoint you to the committee, Samantha. And the way you do that is if you go on the city's website, you will find application to join a committee or task force and the rules and all that sort of stuff. If it gets a little bit confusing for you, you can email me or email the city manager who can help walk you through it. But you fill out the application and then the city manager will present that to the city council and you will be invited to speak briefly before the council as to why you want to join the task force.
Okay. I will fill that out and I will get that. Is that the volunteer form?
yes,
Exactly. It
I will,
really,
I will fill it out and I will, who do I need to send that to? The city manager?
yeah,
I'll send it to the city manager tonight.
okay.
That's
Yeah, it'll
great.
say on the website exactly where you should
Yep,
send
I'm
it.
staring at it right now, the volunteer
Okay.
application. Yep.
You may want to send a copy of it to Erica so that she can pass on to us a little bit about you so we can learn about you.
So, okay. I've been here for quite a while, but I'm certainly more than willing to tell you more. I'm a local landlord and all I do is provide housing to the homeless, so. Been here for a hot minute.
Okay?
yeah, Samantha has actually attended some of our meetings in the past.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
I've been very active in the All In for Barry housing meetings. I'm on 3 of the different well, one kind of dissolved, but 2 of the different task force for the All In for Barry meetings. And I've been a low-income landlord here in Barry City for 12 years.
Great. Well, I'm sure the city council will find that attractive and appoint you and we will welcome you.
Yes, they all know who I am.
All right, you made me up. Erica, my suggestion is that we do any other minutes next meeting so that we can look at them. I'm just not familiar with them. I'm sure they're fine, but I don't remember them.
That's fine. So we have some updates, very sparse updates. The ARPA grant has been sent in to the city manager. We did get, they have read it or they have seen it. It's been across their desk. There no update about when we'll hear back from him. For those that have maybe not heard about, we submitted an ARPA grant for a warming shelter at the conference room and the mill room of the library. Have not heard back about that. Does anybody know if people are gonna hear back about the ARPA grants? I heard there's a forum on the 15th for suggestions, but that's all I've heard.
I imagine it's going to be at least a week or 2 after the public forum. I mean, the
Yeah.
15th is a Tuesday. So probably by the 22nd, some suggestions will be compiled. Maybe it'll be voted on at city council that week, but probably maybe the week after.
Yeah, it's gonna get kind of cold. That's my fear.
So is there currently no warming shelter plan?
Currently,
There's a plan, there's just no money.
yeah. There isn't a warming shelter in, I don't want to speak out of turn. There's Good Sam, that's a night shelter. There's the library when it's open. There's the Welcome Center in Berlin for guests there. And there's a day spot in Montpelier from 9 to 5, but currently there isn't a warming shelter anywhere else. Everything's just being planned. The churches are open when, for breakfast. Some of them are even, it's take away for some. But right now, when, the library is not open, there's nothing.
So do you remember the resource guide that we were working on at one point?
Yep.
So what's the status of that?
It's kind of got waylaid for warming shelters and meal guides.
Okay, so is there an updated meal guide that has been able to be distributed with accurate times and locations?
Yep, it just got distributed today.
Perfect. Is that posted somewhere on the city website or on Facebook or anywhere? Or available to pick up and distribution?
It just got emailed out today by me. And so I can actually send folks a copy of it.
Could you send me a copy?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And Lauren, we're at updates. We started a little late. But again, where the meal sites are, some are not open, and the meal site list covers Montpelier and Barry area. And there's been a lot of new updates since the last time it was updated. I believe it was last updated in January. Homeless counts. I got the new homeless counts for people living outdoors. And it's an always an estimated number. And they've gone a little up to the estimate in Montpelier is 30, the estimate in Berlin is 25, and the estimate in Barry is 29. So there. And I'm sorry, I'm talking a little fast.
Could you give me those counts again, please?
Sorry, 30 in Montpelier. Trying to remember if I know my head. 30, 25 in Berlin, and 29 in Barry. And those are people outside.
We have nearly 90 people outside right now.
Yes, thank you for your awesome quick math.
Yeah, there are approximately 80 at the Hilltop Inn. So.
Right, but those are indoor. Those
Yeah,
are
they're not
indoor.
outside.
So that's a different number. That's an entirely different number.
Right. So, and again, all the shelters, all the hotels are full. So to get a room is nearly to extremely impossible. And so when I say people are outside, that includes people that choose to be outside or people that can't get a hotel or shelter space for various reasons. I'm talking a lot. There was a housing roundtable that was really, really attended well, I thought. And that was a couple weeks ago. Does anybody besides me who was there want to talk about that?
Was I at that? I was not at that one, correct?
I don't think you were, I didn't see you.
Okay, I think I must have like gotten dropped off of somebody's email list because I'm not getting the updated minutes and meeting links.
Yeah, that was the city manager put that on.
Hmm,
And it
okay.
was, yeah. Was attended by outreach workers, it was attended by the faith community, and it was attended by, the panel was attended by faith community, outreach workers, and providers in Barry.
Gotcha.
And again, I want to put somebody else in the talking mode besides me, because I can go on and on. So I know Brooke was there, other people were there.
I'm just trying to go back to my notes that I'm looking at, but I mean, I think we just said the winter preparedness and we talked about like overflow or lack of overflow and how to get it, and the warming shelter, and that there's literally nowhere for anyone to go.
This is Lauren. I recall several agencies were really concerned about the end that was approaching for federal funding that was helping with both rental assistance and electricity assistance, and suggested this problem could become a crisis very quickly if that rollout is not successfully managed when it happens.
So I actually just forwarded Brooke the email that I got yesterday from VRAP, because the program is changing yet again, and I got an email that all but one of my tenants that are on VRAP, it's just abruptly ending on December 1st. And that challenge, that jump from their rent being covered to now their 30% portion was already a significant struggle for a lot of tenants, and they're already now 2 months behind. So I think that once December hits and that money stops, it is going to be absolutely catastrophic. Absolutely catastrophic.
So yeah, it looks like we're gonna see a whole new wave of folks that are homeless that were on the VRAP program that were housed, like Samantha just pointed out, or that are, depending on this VRAP program.
Well, and the other issue is it's not even just, even if they are able to cover the rent, the utility piece is ending as well. And I'm not sure how many of you pay for your own heat, but my fuel costs, and I even get a discounted rate due to the volume that I purchase, my fuel costs have more than doubled from this time last year. And that is going to be absolutely unaffordable, impossible, literally not even an option for some of these people to be able to pay them. So there's going to be people that are just going to go without heat all winter long. I mean, going into January, where we typically have our coldest weather. So I think that, yeah, we're going to have problems all around.
Yeah, 6 months ago, I increased my rent 3%, and then the landlord wanted to hold it there, and I said, no, you're gonna need more because of the heating cost increase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has literally more than doubled.
Yeah, no, I mean, so that just, for those of us who can afford it, that has to be shared. It's not fair otherwise. But I've been monitoring the prices of fuel oil because I did recommend to my landlord a pre-buy at a certain price, which appears to be holding up. But it's also unpredictable. It's come down a little bit, but there's no predictability as to what's gonna happen.
Right. So it's gonna, yeah, it's people are gonna have to make some choices. Wow. So, moving on, I mean, it's not all bad news. It can be, right? So the other announcements, and then we'll get into some stuff we can do that are positive. The state of Vermont is holding some homelessness days of action in the hotels. And there's gonna be November 30th from 12 to noon at the Hollow Inn. December 7th, 12 to noon at the Hilltop. And December 14th, 12 to noon. 12 to noon, 12 to 4, these are all 12 to 4, I apologize, at the Econo. And what they're planning on doing is they're having service providers go into the hotels, provide lunch, and you know, go in and say to folks, what do you need from us? How can we help? What are you missing from us? And so we can go back to the legislature and say, you know, we've done everything we can. We're getting folks need our ID. We're getting them the paperwork. Folks need housing applications. Folks, you know, we're just, you know, that those are where we know the concentration of folks are. And it's not just going to be folks at the hotels. We're saying everybody just come to us. But this is where we're going to be. We're going to feed you. We're going to get you any kind of services you need, but this is where we're going to concentrate. So we don't have a final draft of the flyer yet. Once we do, we'll get them out to y'all so you can distribute them at your places. So folks know that's where they can catch us. And there's going to be a free lunch if the hotel is in Barry. Morris Block Deli is providing lunch. So you know it's going to be yummy. Thank you, Stefano and his crew. So, yeah, and if you're if it's Montpelier, it's the senior center. I don't know how the food is yet, but I know Morris Block is gonna do some really good stuff for us. So yeah.
So Erica, the
Yeah.
state of Vermont is putting this on?
The state of Vermont is putting it on.
And they're
And
gonna bring
all of-
all of these providers together at these different, okay.
Yes, they are. And it's been hurting cats because I've been part of the planning meetings. And I'm one of the providers coming. And yeah, it's been a lot of hurting cats, but we're trying to get everybody together. And they are all accessible and they all will have ASL interpreters. But I think it's gonna be a good thing, but I will make sure everybody gets a flyer and an announcement. The other thing I wanted to bring up before we get into, the last item on the agenda, which is hopefully gonna be a big one and involve the library a little bit more, is we are constantly doing a camping gear drive with Good Sam. Sorry, that's Another Way and Good Sam. We distribute camping gear, tents, rain gear, cold weather gear, gloves, mittens, hats, sleeping bags, tents to folks. We, none of us resell it. We just get it out to folks in need. Okay, anything else before we go into a big line item?
I have a
Okay.
story and a question,
Sure.
and the story is actually pertinent. It's not cute. I wasn't able to attend the roundtable. I had a different meeting, but I did tell my wife about it and a few other people about it who I are pretty active in this whole homeless kind of sphere of things, and they knew nothing about it. So I'm kind of curious how the meeting was, that roundtable was publicized. That's enough of that. The story is my wife does not just do nothing. So she went to the meeting. She's Beth Mueller. I think some of you probably know her. She's been doing this Help the Homeless for 10, 12 years. She left the meeting thinking we have a need here. So she emailed the 10 biggest manufacturers of camping equipment in the country. 8 of them didn't respond. One of them said, yeah, I'll send it on to my HR department. And one guy from Colorado called and he sent us 10 big boxes of sleeping bags, all graded for below 0. So 25, 30 sleeping bags, good to like 30.
That's
below.
amazing.
Well, it was real, yeah.
Your wife
she
is
thought-
awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, the point is she thought we need to do something more than just talk about this. So I'm thinking maybe we should reshift our focus. I know in Vermont, it doesn't work, and I'm not from Vermont, to just kind of put out blanket calls. You have to specifically ask people. So I'm wondering if we should be contacting some of the service organizations like the American Legion or I don't know what else, and say, there is this need, can you help us? Because yeah, I mean, she came up with 25, 30 sleeping bags. We dropped them off at the Welcome Center. And now Rick has them, and he's giving them to somebody.
So because this is your idea, Philip, and I'm just.
Oh, no. Well, go ahead.
No, hear me out before you say no. Could you come up with like a list of organizations like Darn Tough, for instance, throwing it out there?
Oh,
And
sure, I could do something like that, yeah.
a list of orgs.
Could you
And-
also include who she sent those emails to, so that, you know, we could kind of think of other companies to replicate those letters to?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it was
and-
just, she got up in the morning, wrote an email. It took her 10 minutes, I assume. I don't know.
And if you could come up with like a list of organizations, I mean, you know, I'm putting it out there. I don't celebrate the holidays, but the holidays are coming up. You know, so maybe, you know, we could hive mind it and, you know, everybody take a batch and send some emails out.
Well, I'll
Would
do
that
my
be-
best. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty busy, but I can come up with, and I think it's not only organizations who manufacture stuff, it's just kind of,
I was just putting it out there.
yeah, no, specifically asking people to do something. But yeah.
No, I mean, it's, that's a great idea. I think you're right. I like working on little projects like this.
Yeah, maybe Onion River Sports or whatever it is now. Do they have kind of slightly defective camping equipment they need to get rid of? Yeah.
Right, and
Or-
some of the, especially some of the smaller manufacturers where it's a lot easier to reach an actual human being.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, seconds or, you know, factory seconds or last season's model or things like that. You know,
Right.
those are great options.
Even the bike shop might have something.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
get a tax write-off. Yeah.
Great idea. So thank you, Philip. That's amazing, and thank your wife.
Oh, yeah, I never would have done it. Yeah, thank her. Yeah, never would have occurred to me.
So Lauren said we should tell Dave DeClore, I went by too fast. We should tell
Sorry.
Dave. In the Talk of the Town article, the great forum to share news in the name of the donor company and the community. Yeah,
That's a good
I
idea.
mean, yeah. So yeah, thank you. And yeah, people, you know, a template that your wife came up with, and we could steal her idea. That's perfect. Thank you.
She'd be wonderful with that. Yeah.
If it's okay if we steal her idea, steal her.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I always like to steal with permission, as I call it.
Yeah, no, she'll be very happy to have somebody else warm.
And our last, okay, so we have that, and Stephen has his homework of pestering me about sending out the meal site list to y'all. So the last thing is then a project on the back burner, since we're talking about projects, is the storytelling project or the Take Out a Human project that I've been interested in. I think Lauren's been interested in this as well. And I'm not gonna take your thunder away because you're much better at explaining this better than I am. But I actually have my some other meetings I go to, because I'm in meetings a lot, is I'm with the Vermont Interfaith Action, which is kind of wonky. But they're also looking for stories of folks that have had personal experience with homelessness. And they're looking for stories. So I thought this would be a great little storytelling with them as well. But just putting, I always like to say, these are the people in your neighborhood, this is your community. And putting a face to folks that are homeless. And I work with folks that have had personal experience with homelessness. I've had personal experience with homelessness. And this project is basically folks, talking to people and putting a face to the homeless in our community. Because so often these are invisible people, we don't see them, or people shy away. Or people just don't look at them. And they have the stigma to homeless. And when I work with somebody who's homeless or has an addiction, is homeless, sometimes I see that, but then there's stories, they have kids, they have a family, there's a reason for their homelessness, or there's a reason for their addiction, or that, they're incarcerated and they're just trying to do better. And they just want a job, they just want a house, they want everything we want. And I think this is a great project to put faces and stories to the folks that are homeless out there. And a lot of their stories are heartbreaking. And some of their survival skills are amazing. And, I don't know if, this is something we want to pursue, to put, these are the people in the community as well. And we need to do better. And we keep saying, do better, Barry. And this is how we can do better, by putting faces and names and stories. And let's look at our homeless population as people and not just this thing we need to shy away from. There, did I encapsulate it well enough? But is this something we want to pursue with the library as some kind of event or some kind of thing? As well as, ramping up on gear and ramping up on winter.
Is that question directed towards me or the general group?
General group and at you, because it would probably be using the library space as any, some kind of outreach event with the library, because it is your space.
Yeah, well, I would be happy to host that event if you guys want to do some organization around it. But I would also be happy to help create the event if you want it to be a longer ongoing activity. A lot of libraries that host something like this. So there's a trademarked company that does something called the Human Library. And there's other similar programs. And they actually encourage people to expand the Human Library to not only include people who maybe have stories about their experience with homelessness or drug addiction, but also with, alternate lifestyles that, other people may have questions about. And it's intended to not only help people hear stories and develop empathy, but also to help people have open and honest conversations and to ask questions that you might not feel comfortable asking in other relationships. So, so that's an option too.
Well, okay, so the question to the group would be, we have one that's just homelessness and one that's just a whole smorgasbord of things. Which do you think is more Barry-esque?
I have a question. Do we need to answer yours first?
No, you ask your question first.
Could you explain the mechanics of this to me? Like, you just have a big group of people and say, come in and tell us your story.
So how other libraries have performed this work is they typically ask people to donate a set amount of time. For example, in my previous library, I lived in a community that was 98% Hispanic, so I was a minority. And perhaps I would offer to share my story and, you know, have conversations with people who hadn't, you know, been around a white woman a lot during their life. And how it works is you kind of collect and catalog your volunteers who are willing to sit down and have an honest conversation. You give them some preliminary training on, they may be asked questions that people wouldn't feel comfortable asking you outside of this forum, where you're giving people a chance to ask questions that might be kind of awkward or uncomfortable. And then when people choose to check out a human, essentially you help facilitate someone who's interested in having a conversation with someone. And these people meet at the library for an hour, or sometimes it develops into, you know, an afternoon. And you get to give somebody a chance to understand, like, what is it like to be a person of color living in Vermont, which is, of course, a very, very white state. Or what is it like to be homeless? Or how did you, you know, how did you become homeless? Or how did, you know, what are some of the difficulties? Like, to ask those questions that you wouldn't normally get an opportunity to ask, but in order to understand different people. But that's how you do it, is basically we develop a catalog of volunteers, we train them, and then we help facilitate meetings at the library between people who are interested in talking to other people who are different, who have different experiences.
These are all
yeah.
one-on-one conversations. It's not,
Correct.
when I hear
I mean,
stories, sometimes I think a written story, but got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And sometimes people will even perhaps like two people would want to check out and share a conversation, you know, with another person. So it can be a small group, but it's essentially one-on-one or small group interactions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know several years ago, there was a trans person in Montpelier who did something very similar. They set up a table on Main Street, and it was like, yeah, ask me a question.
It was Glow, and it was ask a trans person anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
And
idea.
so, yeah, exploring conversations around gender identity, race, ethnicity, and living situation, or, you know, invisible illness. Those kind of issues are very interesting conversations to have that can help people develop empathy and understanding when they're able to have an open and honest conversation and ask questions.
Okay,
So.
yeah, great. Now I understand. Thank you.
So which one would we like to help pursue? All or just one? Or we could just help, we could say all and then just help Lauren with one.
But I think, if we did all, just for the fact that there is so much substance abuse and mental health, like they're all kind of interconnected. So why not? Would be my question, but just my opinion for the night that we do all. So thank you.
Yeah.
So I personally think we all have so many stories, and this is something that we could definitely help with. And maybe do a big hoopla around this, you know, these are the people in your neighborhood. And just shower Lauren with our love and help her with this. Because I like showering people with love. But that's just me. So, do we need a vote for this, or are we good? Stephen's asleep.
Stephen's asleep. But I guess if we could define all. So we're talking people who are homeless? Or
I think
no?
all would be anybody who's interested in telling their story.
Okay, so it could be a middle-class white person who wants to talk about
Their
Kind of-
story about,
all these changes in the world are affect. Okay, yeah.
so Stephen, do we need a vote? I'm looking at you.
I'm sorry,
Um,
was that directed to me?
Yes, I was asking, do we need a vote?
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not participating more. I'm not feeling well and
That's fine.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm missing quite a bit of what's going on. So I'll have to look at the minutes and get caught up on stuff. But I mean, if it's expressing support for a project at the library along the lines that Lauren described, I certainly favor that.
Okay.
It seems like we might need a motion
All right, so I'll put a
to do
motion
with
on the
this
floor.
without getting too specific. I don't know.
I'll put a motion on the floor to support Lauren in this project and help her as much as I can.
I second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
All right, and even though we started late, I apologize. I will put the right link in next time. Our next meeting is December 7th. I will put the right link in. My apologies. We do meet at the Public Safety Building, for those who need to know. And I hope you feel better. Samantha, I look forward to your application. Is there anything else people need from me right now?
No.
Everybody knows their homework?
Yep.
Okay. So Samantha, application. I'm gonna send that thing out, the meal site thing out. Philip is going to get the meeting minutes and do some organization, put some organizations together and get the template from his wife. And Lauren and I are gonna talk about this project. And Brooke Brooke is.
Oh, no. Wait, sorry, Eric. Stay and I'll do whatever you just said.
I said you didn't have any homework for us.
Oh, okay. But I can help with whatever anyone needs as well.
All right, you're awesome that way. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Erica.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, and again, my apologies. All right, have a good one.
Great. Thank you
Bye,
very much.
everyone.
Bye.